restaurants who forgot to disclose that the horchata was made with almond milk, and I had to spend New Year's Eve in an ER because I drank that horchata. So this is looking to ensure that restaurants put that, disclose that, and because we've embedded some flexibility for small, medium, independent, and large restaurants, there is a minor cost to this that the local health department will be able to absorb into their daily activities. There is a flexibility to ensure that if restaurants do their menu with a QR code, it could be digitally. You could do an allergen booklet. You can put it on the actual menu. We just want to make sure we have an added layer of protection to consumers in California. With that, respectfully asking for an aye vote.
Thank you.
And no witnesses.
No witnesses. Okay. No primary witnesses. Any additional folks wish to express support in the room? Any primary witnesses in opposition?
Madam Chair and members, Matt Sutton with the California Restaurant Association. We are opposed unless amended and appreciate the Senator's work on this issue all year. We take this issue seriously. We've been in this building very productive over the last decade, putting mandates on ourselves as it relates to allergens in restaurants. So what this bill is about the disclosure of the top 9 allergens. We don't have an issue with disclosing the top 9 allergens. Where we are having an issue is we are opposed unless amended because of the communication channels that we are allowed to communicate that to our guests. And what I'm getting at is the National Model Food Code provides a list of options for you to communicate with your guests on the top 9 allergens. That is the gold standard for public health in this country. And so that is also something, the Model Food Code, that the health committees in both houses of this legislature spend a lot of time attempting to align with. So let me cut to the chase. The flexibility in the Model Food Code for ways to communicate with guests are exactly as the Senator said. Allergy charts, allergy-specific menus, and a number of other options, including QR codes. That flexibility is allowed in this bill for restaurants with 5 or fewer locations. Everybody else must put the information on the menu, digitally or the physical menu. That is the cost driver. That's the cost driver for enforcement. That's the cost driver for restaurants. For us to constantly be switching out menus when ingredients change, that's the big issue for us. And so if we can have the first part of the bill align with that national gold standard, the Model Food Code, if that could apply to the rest of the restaurant community, then we'd get to a place where we can get behind this. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any additional folks in the room wish to express opposition? Okay, we will bring it back to committee. Ms. Pacheco.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator, for bringing this important bill forward. I know when I've traveled, I constantly get asked by servers if I have any allergies or if the people I'm with have any allergies. And so I think it is important, but I believe the opposition has an oppose unless amended. So I wonder if there's a way to work it out with the opposition so that they can go neutral. And so I want to hear from the Senator to see if there's a path forward.
We amended this bill drastically in the Assembly Health, worked really closely with the chair, and I think there was a lot of more sympathy for the smaller restaurants, giving them even more flexibility. But I thought about other things. I thought about, let's think about digital menus in particular. It is respectfully adding another typed word to a digital menu. I'm struggling to find the difficulty in doing that. For printed menus, restaurants' menus change seasonally. We added a new dish, it gets dirty, you have to reprint new ones, and we want to make it as easy as possible for the consumer. All the bills that we pass, colleagues, it's always really hard to ensure that the consumers know that this exists. If it's not going to be on the menu, you've been accustomed to maybe think that it's never going to be on the menu. Now you're putting the burden on the consumer to ask, hey, restaurant, do you by any chance have a booklet or an allergen booklet? We wanted to make sure it was as easy as possible for the consumer. Because what we're seeing, even when you're asked, assembly member, if you have an allergy, there are still upwards of 50% allergy cases still occurring, even when a waitress or waiter asks you if you have an allergy. Because even when I'm asked and I'm noted to the server, the dessert always comes with peanuts on top, because by the time the course of the dessert hits, they have forgotten that I told them that I'm allergic to peanuts. So we wanted to bring some flexibility, Assembly member, and we thought we got to a compromise. But like every single other, like a lot of our bills, we don't always get 100%, or we don't always include 100% of what the opposition is asking for. I gave a lot, and I feel comfortable with where the bill is now.
And I just want to hear what the opposition has to say.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the issue. You know, we find ourselves asking for the model food code, the gold standard on this topic. And so we don't really, we've given a lot of concessions on the bill in terms of providing the disclosure and putting our members through that, and we're willing to do that. I guess I find myself fighting for this national standard of good public policy, and I don't see it as a concession from either of us. This is just good, smart, sound communication between the guest and the restaurant. So that's what we're after. That's what the other states are looking at doing, should they go down this road. But so far, restaurants, other states have not gone down this exact road. A lot of what we grapple with is the dynamic nature of the supply chain, constantly changing. We are not swapping menus out on a regular basis, generally. So that's the need for getting to this standard, and that will create consistency for people that go to those restaurants that under this bill are allowed that flexibility. So it would create parity between restaurants, and I think that would help guests. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you both. I think conversations still need to be held. I will be supporting the bill today, but I will reserve my vote when we get to the floor. But I still think conversations can be held, especially if we're going to be protecting consumers. And I think it's important for our waiters and our waitresses to ask if anybody has allergens, so that they can go back to the kitchen and ask. And I've seen that multiple times where they do it. So I'm hoping that both of you can talk, because I think further discussions can actually make this bill better. Thank you.
Ms. Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm struck by another mandate on our small businesses, especially our restaurants. And I've been dealing with this. There's so many issues, but I'll just focus on food. I have an adult daughter who has been allergic to shellfish most of her life, gets violently ill. So her method of operation when she eats in a restaurant is to say to the server, to tell the server, to advise the server, I have a shellfish allergy. She has little cards printed up. I have a shellfish allergy. Please separate the foods. If tell the kitchen. And it happens. She also has a sense of humor about it. She said, if I get sick at 2 o'clock in the morning, who can I call? So she makes it, the responsibility is on the person who is dining and who has a food allergy that can cause serious health consequences. My daughter has had serious problems and been in an emergency because of her shellfish allergy. I'm just wondering, if there is going to be a national global standard, fine, but to impose another regulation on small business, on our restaurants, just one more area for someone to come in and say, your type isn't large enough, I'm going to sue you for $50,000, which is really what I hear all the time, for some administrative or ADDE perceived infraction. I am going to vote no, but if you can work out something that the industry can support, then I would be supportive of that amended bill. It's just one more reason why restaurants in my district continue to close. One more mandate from the state of California, one more potential lawsuit that's driving businesses large and small out of California or just to shutter themselves. So I can't vote for it. I just wish we could work out a situation that one would work for the restaurant owners of California. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional comments from members? Would you like to close?
I would say I get the concerns of the restaurants, but a mistake causes a person their life. There's no coming back from that. And I recognize not everyone's going to be supportive of this, but for people who have lived with allergies their whole life, like it's your responsibility, but why would we do any other bills that we do in California? Because we want to help consumers. You just heard my previous bill on adding hearing aids for children. Maybe I shouldn't do that bill because it's a responsibility of the parent to pay for their hearing aids for their kid who is hard of hearing. I mean, if we had that mentality for other bills, we wouldn't do any of our bills. It's also upon us as legislators to further help our consumers in California be better prepared to be safe and thrive in California. And there is additional flexibility for medium and large restaurants. If a restaurant has a QR code and for a digital menu, they can choose the allergen grid, the allergen booklet as their written material to provide to their consumer. So there is still flexibility for their large restaurants, and we've seen a lot of restaurants move towards the QR digital code. So it's not prescriptive at all just for the large and medium and restaurants. I've been saying from the beginning, and CRA knows this, that I want this bill to be successful and feasible, and we've had ongoing conversations, and we'll continue to have ongoing conversations. Hasn't been a closed door, and we'll continue to do that because I want them to be successful. But I'll leave you one last tidbit. PF Chang's, when they changed their menu to include foods that were gluten-free, saw a 140% increase in consumers going to their restaurants. So this, in fact, brings people out more and feel more comfortable to partake in the foods given by these restaurants when they feel that they have all the information needed for them. So I would argue, perhaps, Assembly Member, maybe this would be good business for restaurants because more consumers would be able to come because they know that they can eat at that restaurant without respectfully asking for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. I also wanted to make some closing comments on this bill as well. One, I want to acknowledge your passion on this, and I know it comes from a personal place, and so thank you. I've other people in my life as well who experience similar things, and so I think it's important that there's transparency as folks are ordering things because, as you've said, people's lives can depend on it, so thank you for bringing the bill forward. I also do want to recognize, though, the opposition and align my comments with Ms. Pacheco that what I'm hearing from the opposition, it's not that they don't want to provide the information, it's how to do it. I think is what they're grappling with and trying to figure out what is the sort of national standard with which they can operate. And so if there's a way to land this that makes it more easily implementable for the restaurants, I would love to see that as well. I want to move the bill forward because I think it's an important topic and I think you're doing really important work here. But I would also urge continued conversations with the opposition who I think want to figure out a way to land this where it's easier for the restaurants to implement it. So, and I'm happy to be a part of those conversations or not, but want the bill to move forward, but would also like to see more conversations with the opposition in a way. Hopefully we can do this so we can all wrap our arms around it on the floor. So thank you. And with that, the bill is out on a B roll call today with Mr. Ta and Ms. Gonzalez not voting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Ms. Reyes up next. Did I say myth? That is Mr. Jeff Gonzalez. Was not voting on that. Sorry. Don't you like being in the Appropriations Committee? Yeah. It's like this all the time.